When beginning to design a lighting system, one of the first steps is to place lighting fixtures. I'll zoom into the south portion of the building. As you can see, the ceiling grid is visible since we're currently working in a reflected ceiling plan view. Typically, lighting plans will be reflected ceiling plan views. To place a lighting fixture, on the Systems ribbon, in the Electrical panel, click Lighting Fixture. Once I do, the ribbon changes to the Modify Place Fixture contextual ribbon. Also, the Properties palette changes and the Type selector contains a list of lighting fixture types already loaded in the current project. You can select the type of light fixture by choosing from this list. I will select the 2x4-120 plain recessed lighting fixture, or 600 by 1200-120 in the metric file. If the type you want to use does not appear in this list, you can load it from the Revit component library. To find more lighting fixtures, in the Mode panel, you would click the Load Family tool. Since most lighting fixtures are hosted components, there is a placement panel on the contextual ribbon. Here, you can choose to place on vertical face, place on face, or place on work plane. Place on vertical face is used to place wall-hosted fixtures. Place on face is used to place ceiling-hosted fixtures. If components such as walls or ceilings are not available, you can use Place on Work Plane to host the devices to a level. You may wish to use Place on Work Plane regardless of whether ceilings have been placed or not, and if you created a level at the ceiling elevation. I'll select Place on Face. Moving into the drawing area, you can see that a lighting fixture can only be placed on a face. When I move my cursor over a ceiling, the ceiling in the architectural model highlights, and I can see a preview of the light fixture. Also, pay attention to the Rotate After Placement option on the options bar. You can select this checkbox if you need to rotate the fixture after placement, or you can press the spacebar to rotate the fixture in 90-degree increments before placing it. If your cursor is at a ceiling grid intersection, pressing spacebar will rotate the fixture in 45-degree increments. To place a lighting fixture, simply click once the preview is in the correct location. To end the command, click Modify or press Escape twice. The quickest way to lay out lighting fixtures is to place one that is aligned to the ceiling grid and then copy the fixture. Since the fixture is aligned to the ceiling grid, I'll select the light fixture and then click Copy in the Modify panel of the contextual ribbon. Next, I'll select the Multiple option in the options bar, select a corner as the start point, and then move the cursor down and select another ceiling grid intersection. I'll move the cursor down again and click to place a third instance. Then I'll press Escape once. At this point, I can press Ctrl and select the two other light fixtures to add them to the selection set. Now when I click Copy in the contextual ribbon, I can copy all three lighting fixtures across this room and into the adjacent rooms. I can continue placing copies by selecting intersections in the ceiling grid. As you can see, this method is much quicker than placing lighting fixtures individually. I'll click Modify to end the command. After lighting fixtures have been placed, you can check the space to see how much illumination has been added. For example, I'll select the space Computer Lab 209. In the Properties palette, in the Electrical Lighting section, I can see the average estimated illumination. If you have lighting fixtures placed in the space, but the average estimated illumination parameter is not populating, then you should modify the room calculation point on the lighting fixture. Sometimes a light fixture may be placed slightly above the space without you realizing it. This can produce errors whenever you create schedules or legends to look at the amount of illumination in a space. To enable and modify the room calculation point, you must first open the lighting fixture family in the Family Editor. To do so, select a lighting fixture and then click Edit Family in the contextual ribbon. Revit opens the family in the Family Editor. In the Properties palette, scroll down to the bottom where there is a Room Calculation Point parameter. To enable this parameter, simply select the checkbox next to it. With the parameter enabled, a point appears in the drawing area with a dashed line connecting it to the origin of the family. As you can see, at the moment, the point is above the light fixture. But the fixture is actually upside down, so it is in the correct location. I'll select the room calculation point. When I do, a 3D control appears at the point. There are 3 arrows on the control, each pointing in one of the 3 coordinate directions. You can use these arrows to move the room calculation point. I'll click and drag the blue arrow down to move the point below the lighting fixture, which is actually above it since it's upside down. Next, I will click Load into Project. In the Family Already Exists dialog, I'll click Overwrite the existing version. Now with the room calculation point above the spaces, the average estimated illumination is 0. I'll use the Switch Windows tool in the Quick Access toolbar to switch back to the family. In the Family Editor, I'll select the room calculation point. I'll click and drag the blue arrow up to move the point back to the original location, which will be inside the space. Next, I will click Load into Project again. In the Family Already Exists dialog, I'll click Overwrite the existing version. Now with the room calculation point inside the spaces, the average estimated illumination is once again correct.